now have both the challenge and the honour to introduce someone who really doesn't need an introduction. The first thing why this project and individual came to my attention was actually because of the confusion he caused in our data team. So the idea, our notion of property is that it spreads over some geographic spread. So when you go and create a vertical town, it throws the data into complete havoc, and you put most of a submarket into one single building, and it's very difficult to go and start sort of deriving trends and changes. And I think that someone who can build a business by starting in one sector, build a very successful, promising, valuable business, and then move into a different sector and do exactly the same again on an even more Goliath scale is quite remarkable. The latest of the crown-worthy activities, projects that our speaker has put together is the new icon of London, the Shard. With that, Irvine Sellar, if you'd like to join us, thank you very much.
Right. Well, let's start off by saying and believing that London is still the greatest city on the planet. And Brexit is not going to change that. It's not going to change our time zone, it's not going to change our language, it's not going to change our stable government, and it's not going to change our rule of law. Safe place to invest, and one of the best, if not the best on the planet, as I said. We at Sellar have ownership of over 3.5 million square feet, a development pipeline of that, and most of that is in London. So we are committed. Now, despite the short-term uncertainty, I can see the UK maintaining our place at the top of the table of world economies without the dead hand of Brussels. We have an opportunity to improve even on our current ranking of the 5th largest economy in the world. Property markets were already under pressure, as you said, and that was due to stamp duty hikes and uncertainty about rates. So it was a slowdown before that. But we're used to downturns, and generally, I think they create opportunities. So the question is, we're all going to have those opportunities. It's recognising them, seizing them, and be prepared. And when they say, and it is said, and I've said it, when preparation meets opportunity, that's when you get lucky. Now, we've had a good run, as you've said, and it was so good I was beginning to get withdrawal symptoms for the next recession, but it seemed to have come, and now we're in our sort of natural climate. The market has changed, leasing has changed, TMT has changed, we're less reliant on the banking sector, and there's a much more even spread. So, and as you said, West End, the West End market has greater vacancy rates above the long-term average, but the city, for some reason, is lower than average. Can't work that out, but that's the case. Right, coupled with the fall in the pound, I think there's a very strong case, as we know, that will encourage inward investment. Smaller deals are being done, not sovereign wealth, but private individuals are buying, and people still believe in London. Now, property never dies. It gets very, very ill at times. I've had a few in intensive care, but generally, over a long term, they come good. And I've been through 3 or 4 recessions. Some of them were tough, some of them were very tough, some of them were so tough that even the liars admitted they were doing badly. Remember those, don't you? Anyway, the uncertainty over the terms of Brexit will endure for the next couple of years, and keep the headline writers busy on a day-to-day basis, the uncertainty. Regards to sterling, it may have further to drop. Biggest puzzle in my mind is why the euro is holding where it is, because I don't understand that, and I'm pretty sure it's going to drop. Much talk about companies having to relocate, passporting, etc. But where are they going? Frankfurt? You want to die an early death? You'll go there. Dublin's too small. Nice city. And Paris is a shopping centre. So, I'll repeat what I said. I think this is going to be an opportunity for clever investors. Look for the opportunities and be positive. And with that, you want a Q&A for 5 minutes? Because I've finished, yeah? Good, thank you.
So Irvine has kindly said he'll take questions. He
may
said
not
he may or
answer
may
them,
not
but I'll
answer
take
them,
Yep.
but he's going to take the questions nevertheless. So anyone got anything that they've been dying to ask this man here? Here we go.
Why Paddington?
Why not?
What do you see in Paddington?
I see one of the greatest opportunities there is in London. I should call it Paddington West End, because it's the biggest rail station closest to the West End. It's 5 minutes from Hyde Park, 7 minutes from Marble Arch. It's the gateway to the globe via Heathrow. You've got Crossrail coming in. Quite frankly, Paddington at the moment, I've said, and they feel a little insulted, you want to go there for 2 reasons at the moment: 1, to catch a train, and 2, to see somebody in hospital. It's not a great place to be, and quite frankly, it is screaming out for creating it to be a placemaking area, as we've done at London Bridge. Now, we're going to create urban space, so we open up. You'll be able to see the Brunel entrance for the first time if we get planning. We haven't got it yet, but we expect to get a result early December. You've got Crossrail. I said you've got Crossrail coming in, and you've got in fact, there are similarities between what we've achieved at London Bridge, because there we built over 2 tube lines. Here we got Bakerloo District, etc. You've got Bakerloo is a terrible line. We're going to increase the size of that station 4 times at least. Other similarities, we're right next to, in London Bridge, we were next to St Thomas and St Giles, and here we're next to St Mary's. St Mary's, as you probably read, are very keen to talk to us about collaborating, which means there may be opportunities to expand. We're going to open up Praed Street, and we're going to starting a new retail street in that area, which I think it's screaming out for. So the opportunities for creating a great office environment, and there is underemployment in Paddington, great place to work, and what better than being able to fall out the buses, tubes and trains straight into your office. And again, 5 minutes from Marble Arch and Hyde Park. Is that it? Anybody else?
Well, obviously, Giles mentioned you've made a success in two areas. Retail, first off, and then property. Which one is the most difficult, and which one do you enjoy the most?
Retail is probably the most difficult. But in the area that I was in, fashion retail was extremely difficult. But a wonderful education, because it teaches you, you're in logistics, you're in banking, you're in personnel, you're in property, you're in security, and being in fashion, you're in show business. So all the disciplines that I learnt and led me easily into property. Property's bigger ticket. I thought easier, and generally it is, but probably if I made a mistake, I should have stayed where I was. But life has taken me into a different direction. And as I said the other day, how the hell did I get from selling fashion clothes on a market stall to changing the skyline of London? It's an interesting question that I ask myself sometimes. The man upstairs had something to do with it. Right, who can I have a little attack on, so we get going, the leasing market?
Irvine, what would you do if you were Philip Green?
I think for a very, very clever man, he made two of the most stupid mistakes that anybody could have made, and I don't know who the hell advised him to go public on buying a yacht at the very time of the £1 sale. So wasn't clever. What would I do now? I think he will be, whatever happens, the reputation is damaged for a long time. So he's got to toy with the idea, so I'm damaged, why should I lay out 300 or 400 million? If he can afford to and never believe, as my father used to say, I said, that guy's worth 2 or 3 billion, or 200 or 300, or 10 or 20 million. He said, have you counted it? No, I haven't. And I haven't counted him, so I don't know what he's worth. I don't know what liquidity he's got, but if he's got it, probably a cheque for 300 million might just redeem his status. So I would consider doing that if I could afford to. That's what I sell a yacht, I suppose. So have I answered that? Yeah? Good. Yeah, sorry.
What do you think of Donald Trump, who's also a bit of a property entrepreneur?
I think I'm going into politics.
Would you vote for him or Clinton?
Quite frankly, it's two bad choices. A bit like being in and out of Europe, isn't it? Or being in and out of Brexit. Both were bad. I think we picked the worst in this case, and I think Hillary would be the safest out of the two. But they've had some unusual presidents. They've had a bodybuilder running the state of California, and they had a B-class actor made a great president. You never know. The odds are him not winning. But recent history proves that most of the professionals managed to get it wrong. So, I don't know. It's interesting. It won't have long to find out. What was the question? Got carried away then.
Trump being a property entrepreneur in the same vein as yourself.
Yeah.
Do you rate him?
I rate him as a salesman. I rate him as a showman. In terms of his skill as a developer, so-so. I'm not a fan of what he's built, quite frankly. Bit of a 70s golden sort of Trump period. Sorry? There's a quietness developed in this room. Okay.
Do you think we should be pro other high-rise areas in London?
Yes?
To create another city in
I think intensification in cities is absolutely vital. You don't have to necessarily build tall to intensify areas, but what you do, and I said earlier, I do believe the future of London, with the increase in the population, which is going to continue, you've got to develop, or should develop, as close to transport hubs as possible for all to live, work and play, so you're within easy commutable range of all of those things. And the boring thing is, it used to be, I got a home in the suburbs. When it takes you 2 hours to get from A to B, that's not clever. It's not efficient. And we've got the basic infrastructure within London. Some of it is very old, but it can be rejuvenated. And London as a city is, in fact, larger than New York and easier to get around. But there's a lot to be done. But that's my belief. That's where a lot of our assets are at the moment, close to transport hubs.
Hello?
Hi.
Over here.
Where are you?
I'm over here. Hand up.
Oh, yeah.
What's
Okay.
your view on right to light?
Right to light?
Yes, in terms of planning.
I'm not sure what you mean.
So
I know what rights of light mean, but
in terms of right to light developing a big building like the Shard.
Yeah.
So what's your...
What's my view on the fact that we are using your airspace to build towers that you've got to look at whether you like them or not? Is that your point?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm glad I explained the question. My view is, I think developers have an enormous responsibility if they're building in public space to use every bit of energy to build quality so that the buildings you're looking at are not ugly, they're pleasant to look at, they've got something there that's pretty special, they become landmarks, they become compasses and markers for the future. So I think there's a responsibility, and I think purely to build just to use space and build fridges that are uninteresting is a developer not doing the job that he should be doing, because we are building in your space. Good answer, isn't it?
Got one over there.
Irvine,
Yes.
can I ask you what you love most about letting agents?
About?
Letting agents. What do you love most about letting agents?
I can't look. How long you got? All night. You know what I like about letting agents is once they are on board, every single excuse, however imaginative my imagination is, they will find reasons for the market being slow. When they're presenting for new business, it's unbelievable how successful they're going to be. It's amazing. Then they're the same people presenting. I've had presentations to me. These are all the tenants that we've got lined up. There they are. Leave it to us. We will get you top rent 70, 75. Don't worry about it. Fantastic. Then the same people are in the room. What's happened? 3 months later, where are you? Market slowed. This reason, that reason. So, getting the idea? Anyway, I like you because you're a salesman, and I believe in good salesmanship with a bit of charm. That's a bit of schmooze, isn't it?
Very good. And I think you've
Done it.
done it well.
Yeah.